feel bad. That's one of my favorite scenes with Simba and
Mm-hmm.
Nala.
You see?
And that's
You see how
I'm,
effective that is?
I'm sick. You want to know? This is going to sound embarrassing in some ways, but
A child says, I love my mommy, I
mhm,
love Mickey Mouse,
mhm.
and I love ice cream.
I don't want to be in a category with ice
Right.
cream. Don't love me.
And it's not necessarily in that order.
Right? Yeah. You never. Yeah.
So you have like a partnership with God, but he's the silent partner.
Mm.
He's just there for you to adore.
It's a good way of looking at it. So when people used to ask me, or still ask me, do I believe in God? 100%. That's what I'm striving for. Is that inappropriate?
Let me share this idea with you. Is it possible to force a person to do something he doesn't want to do?
No. And I, ah, she's gonna look at this and laugh. She's gonna look at this and laugh.
Well, they forced me.
Nobody can force me to do anything.
Nobody can force you to do anything because the the best they can do is say, "We'll kill you." All right, kill me, and then I'll never do it.
Mm.
Do this, or I'll kill you. Go ahead, kill me, and then you'll never get what you want from me. So the threat of death doesn't force you to do anything. I mean, it's a little convincing, but
Mm-hmm.
but in the bottom line, no.
It's only for the moment, temporary.
So, is there a way to force someone to behave a certain way? There is. Convince them. That's why we're so afraid of the simple truth. Because once you hear it,
Can't deny it.
you can't deny it. You're forced by your own conviction. So, oh no, that's too simple. What does that mean? All of a sudden, simple is no good?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's too simple. It's forcing me. You're forcing me. No, I'm not forcing you. You're forcing yourself
Right. You're convinced.
by your
Yeah.
conviction. So see that's basically what the Bible is all about. I can't force you, God says. I can't force you. What am I going to do? Kill you? Then I'll never get what I need out of you. So how can I force you? God can't force me. He can kill me. And then what?
It's not gonna get done.
Mm-hmm. So God says, I'm not even going to try to force you. But read this and see if you're not convinced.
So I've been going at it all wrong, and I feel it. I feel it. Um, what's so funny is I know that it's something that I have been getting better at, but I used to want to force my opinion on others, or not even opinion. There's certain things that I just may have just learned. There's certain takeaways that I'm gonna have from this conversation that I want to go back and share with my family. And where I used to have the approach where we need to do this because A, B, and C, so therefore we need to do this. Nobody's listening to that. But instead, now I'll have a different approach, which is let's look up this information together. Let's explore this and let's see what we all gather from it. And that's what's been missing.
It's a bit of a controversial uh, statement that gets people a little uptight about.
Mm-hmm.
Say, God doesn't need you. Come on. He's telling you what's best for you, but it's not his problem, it's yours. Well, okay, then thank you very much for your advice, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it from here.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you don't take my advice, I'm going to kill you. Oh, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
If he's just giving us good advice, can I say no, thank you? I know it's best for me to do this, but I don't care about me. Oh, then I'm going to kill you. There's something twisted about that. If what God wants is not absolutely necessary, then just do whatever you want and stop even thinking. Just be an animal and let it go wherever it goes. And who cares? We reduced God to a useless being. And we thought we were honoring him. Oh, God is way too big to need you. That's the end of it. You just destroyed the whole world.
I have a question for you. And I don't know whether I like the answer or not. That's irrelevant to me. But I've always, now that when I got away from Christianity, it was just through questioning a lot of stuff, and I was talking to a lot of pastors, talking to a lot of individuals, and I had certain questions, and I didn't like the way that they were being answered. I felt like it was just kind of being shoved off to the side, where certain things, it's like, oh, I can tell you this, but oh, no, you have to ask God for that. You have to, so it got me to the space that I'm in now. Now, being in this space, people always ask me, well, do you believe in God? And my answer probably has changed, slightly. Well, maybe when I first, removed myself from Christianity, but, and it's even a struggle to just say this to you in some ways. I've always looked at God, well, since then, as um, a status that I strive to reach. And I look at it as an influence of positivity, to where I always thought that, a lot of people make different things their gods. Some people make Jordan sneakers their gods, or make their favorite rapper their god, or their favorite basketball, whatever it may be. You're making that your god because of the influence that you're allowing it to have on you. So for me, I looked at God as a status of positive influence that I strive to get to, even though I may never get there, but it's something that I strive to get to. And that's always been a part of what I guess, reinvented my purpose as. Um, but maybe that's just because I'm not connected necessarily to a spirituality religion right now. Maybe that's just me just justifying it, consulting with my convenience rather than what's real. I don't know. Um, but I've always seen a godly potential in everybody if we choose to strive for that. And so when people used to ask me, or still ask me, do I believe in God? 100%. That's what I'm striving for. Is that inappropriate?
Well, it's the smaller half of
Mm,
the pie.
mm,
It's basically saying believing in God is beneficial.
mm,
To whom?
mm. Comes back to that. Mm,
Does he have any say in this matter? You worship him, you adore him, you believe in him. Does he say anything?
mm,
Is he invested in this? He's the creator.
mm,
He's invested.
mm,
So you have like a partnership with God, but he's the silent partner.
mm.
He's just there for you to adore.
It's a good way of looking at it. Mm,
So there are two things actually. There's believing in God and there's worshiping God. Belief and worship. Right?
mm,
The scientist believes in the Big Bang. That's his God. He doesn't worship it,
mm,
but he believes. Everything came from that little particle. Whoa, you're calling a particle God? That's what you believe. But the examples you were given, like you worship a sneaker
Mhm.
or you worship a sports
Mhm.
figure, that's worship.
Mhm.
You don't believe in them,
Mhm.
you worship them.
Mhm.
And worship means I can't imagine anything better. That's adoring. Now, if you look at your wife or your child and you say, I can't imagine anything better, that's beautiful
Mhm.
because there's some truth to it.
Mhm.
You can't imagine anything better than Michael Jordan
Sounds crazy.
because he can jump.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Why? Yeah, because he's athletic. He can run fast. Yeah.
So it's a sin to worship the wrong
Mm-hmm.
God, and it's a sin to believe in the wrong God. They're two very different things. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so we got to know who we believe in and who we worship.
Something for me to think about because it'll adjust my perspective and how I convey certain information. Not just for me, how I take in stuff, but how I'm expressing it.
One more important point about religion. Believe that God exists is ridiculous. To believe that something exists is ridiculous.
You got to know.
Either it does or it doesn't.
Yeah, it does or it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're believing in something that doesn't exist, you're a total fool. And if you don't believe in something that does exist, you're a total fool. So belief does not apply to existent beings. Either you know or you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And if he exists, well, where's the evidence? Something exists, there's got to be evidence. So don't do God any favors by believing he exists. That's an insult.
Wow.
Like saying,
Mm-hmm.
your existence is somewhat questionable, but I believe.
But I believe. Yeah.
Thank you, doing me a big
Mm-hmm.
favor. Right? Here is the simple, most like truth is simple.
Mm-hmm.
It is so simple, right? Everything that exists, that we know, that we see, that we experience, we know it didn't always exist. We know that. That's why we need a Big Bang to go from not existing to existing, because we know mountains did not always exist. Planets did not always exist. Okay. So, if they do exist, somebody caused it. Something caused it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there was one existing being that somehow multiplied into all these beings. The scientists today call it a subatomic particle that always existed, and whatever process happened, it turned into a universe. That's your definition of God. God means whatever it was that existed from which all else gets its existence. Everybody admits to that because it's logical.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't always exist, then you came from something that did exist. The definition of God is that which existed from which all other existence derives. Wait, you have to believe that? There was one, and then it turned into two and three and four. No, I don't believe there was one. It started with two. Come on. So, belief in God's existence is ridiculous. It's not a belief, it's a logical, common sense thing. So, everyone goes about calling God a different name. The scientists of today, the big, wise leaders of a, refer to him as a particle. They're even calling it a God particle. I don't know, whatever that means.
That's the new thing.
Yeah. So, if something existed and the whole universe came from, well, you're calling him a particle. Can't you just call him God? But here's the difference. There was an original being. There had to have been. It didn't start with nothing, because nothing plus nothing.
Nothing.
So there's something. The question is, this something is also intelligent, or that's it. That's the whole debate. You say there was a subatomic particle, the world did evolve from that, but the particle doesn't know what hit it. Bang! And we say whatever there was at the beginning that is eternal must also have infinite wisdom. If he's infinite, why isn't he infinitely smart? That's the whole difference. Everyone believes in a God. The question is only what kind of God? So you believe in a God that is a particle that doesn't know what's happening? You're more intelligent than your God? All right, now, let's say there was something, whatever it was. Logically, it's infinite. It has no limits. Why? Who would impose a limit? Things don't limit themselves. A stronger power limits or destroys the smaller power. If God is the original being and there was nothing else, who put a limit on him? So logically, if you're the only one,
you're limitless.
You're limitless. If you're limitless, there can only be one of you. Isn't that true? How can there be two unlimited beings? Where does one end and the other begins? So there can't be two. Because to have two, each one has to be limited. Has to stop somewhere for the other one to begin. So God exists. He created the world. He is infinite, and there's only one. And I don't have any faith so far. That's just logical. So what is faith? Faith is things that I cannot figure out. What can't I figure out? Why would he care? So when he says, I need you to do this, I got to believe it. Because no way does that make any sense.
That little adjustment can open up some pretty powerful doors.
Yeah. So what is an atheist? An atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God. Everybody believes in a God. The atheist is someone who will not believe in a God who can tell him what to do. It's arrogance. I'll believe in any God as long as he doesn't tell me what to do. Particle? Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Just don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do.
Is there a way to get more people to embrace and understand just what you just said?
How do you feel about what I just said?
It's gotten me to look at how I've been looking at things. But for me, I've been lost in a lot of ways because I'm not attached to anything. So I call it learning. I'm learning, stuff, but it's part of me acknowledging that I'm not necessarily a part of something, or I don't know. Like, I can sit here and say I communicate with God. My religion, how I used to look at it, is always the foundation. I would say treat others how I want to be treated, but that limits a lot of areas in which I could be serving, because it's still
Yeah, what if I don't
about
want to
me.
be
It's
treated the
still
way you
about me.
want to be
Right,
treated?
right. It's still about me, and my wants and my needs rather than something greater. And I guess when I talk to young kids or anybody, that's really what you're trying to or I guess what I'm trying to convince people, or trying to just give people information on, that there's something needed from you for a greater purpose than just you.
Greatest
The
purpose.
greatest purpose. Mm-hmm.
So all that we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
is it hard for you to accept?
No,
Is it convincing?
it is.
It feel good?
It does. Mm-hmm.
Then who would refuse this?
Yeah, I know. I'm over here. That's why I'm sitting here. Like, I need to change my approach. I need to change my approach and change. I need to elevate my understanding, so therefore I can give that to other people, because
And they will
there's.
accept it
Mm-hmm.
as readily and as happily as you did. People are not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They may be crazy,
Mm-hmm.
they're not stupid.
Even I'm seeing it in myself, where even though I may run from certain stuff, uh, I'll run from being a part of this religion, being a part of that, accepting this, accepting that. I'm realizing, I don't know if it's just me, but maybe the people like me that are running from certain stuff are really just looking for something that they feel they can really embrace.
Which is good.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be particular. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful. You got to be selective. Not believe anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's dangerous. And we can believe anything because belief doesn't need to be validated. Oh, well, that's what I believe. You believe you're meant to kill half of the world's population.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that you believe it, what am I going to say? So belief can be very dangerous.
You mentioned Peter Pan earlier.
You know him?
I don't know him. I grew up thinking I knew him, and it's funny. I'm very big on. I always look at Disney movies, and sometimes I go on YouTube and I break them down as to what this Disney movie was teaching. So with Peter Pan, I'll have like these things that I'll feel are epiphanies. But then when I share them with people, they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And I'm thinking like, "Oh, Peter Pan." My takeaway from that is different than my takeaway when I was younger. Now it's okay. He was able to fly based on positive thoughts. Um, and now I'm learning certain things when I read different books, auto-suggestion, the power of the mind. And I'll take that away from that particular, Peter Pan. You think positive, then it can help you elevate in different areas. You do positive. You become your thoughts, all these different things. But with a lot of the other Disney movies, I see a lot of the negative impacts, or what I perceive as a negative impact, which is a lot of the stuff that I see as the selfishness. Do this for me. I deserve this. This is what a perfect world is. When you made the comment earlier, as far as somebody in a marriage, this isn't what I thought it would be. Well, what are you basing that off? The fantasies that we grew up looking at, and then we compare everything to that. And when it's not on par, then we tend to run rather than to be committed. Um, so it was just interesting to me that you brought up the Disney movies, because I see that as almost the first indoctrination that we're getting as we're young, and we think about it as, oh, it's just a Disney movie. And it's not a Disney. It's more than a Disney movie. It's literally setting the foundation for how we'll see the rest of the world moving forward, in my opinion. And we shouldn't be getting that from a Disney movie. We should. There's plenty of other.
They're dangerous.
Yeah. hmm
They're dangerous.
And I realize it more and more. But I look at, and I'm a fan of them. I'm a fan of it. But when I look at Aladdin, Little Mermaid, all these different movies, I'm realizing like, nah, like that was setting us up for things that are happening now. I literally look back at the Little Mermaid and say like, okay, this is a little bit deeper than this. You have, this young lady where it seems innocent, and she's going through um, this. She's torn between being in her with her family, her community, and the grass is greener on the other side. Look at those amazing humans. They live like this, they do this, but she's leaving her family. She's leaving her community to go to another community, and not to say that that's, I don't know, inherently bad, or I don't know what the right word is for it, but I'm just noticing how it set the tone on a lot of stuff that's happening now. And that's, I don't know, it's a huge issue for me. It's just as far as people not being as committed to their family as they are to themselves and their wants and their needs. Because wants and needs to me are just things that vary at different times. I want different things today than I want, just like you were saying earlier, where I think we've gotten away from duty and responsibility. Um, so I don't know if that's the right way of thinking, but it's just something that I've noticed that really bothers me about where we are today.
I think if we boil it all down to one sentence,
Mm-hmm.
we have freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And our choices are significant. It's not, buy this shoe or that shoe.
Mm-hmm.
We have some significant choices to make.
Mm-hmm.
And the big choice, the ultimate choice is, do you want to be needy or do you want to be needed?
Mm-hmm.
We want to be needed,
Mm-hmm.
no question.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be needed more than we want to be loved. That's just human nature.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't need me, but you love me, I'm your entertainment. A man says to a woman, I love you very much. You're not interested? No loss of mine. In other words, I don't need you. I love you. Okay, I don't love you. Like, love we can do without. We really can. Outside of Hollywood. Hollywood has turned love into an idol. Love is everything. It's the solution for everything. Every problem can be solved with love.
It's make believe.
And love has become one of the worst corruptive influences. We kill for love. We get jealous over love. We hate people over love. You either use it correctly or it's just as bad as anything else. Human beings don't need to be loved. Babies need to be loved. Human beings don't need to be loved. We need to be needed. Because if I think I'm not needed, I won't hang around.
That's another hot topic right now.
Ooh, big.
Yeah, because I've had that conversation with my girlfriend, and her answer has changed over time, just through, I guess, different conversations and her seeing different things. I don't know how else to say it, but you loving me, I don't even know what that means. That's gonna vary for you on a day to day, and it's gonna vary for you and me as how what that even means, as far as a relationship. But especially me as a man, I need to be needed.
We all do.
I need to be needed. You know what I mean? Like I need to be needed. When I'm needed, it gives me more of a battery in my back to run through a wall, rather than if I'm not needed, just walking through a door.
And you will not run through a wall for love.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
In fact, you can survive concentration camps if you know you're needed. You've got a father to take care of. You've got a child you got to find. If you're needed, you'll survive almost anything.
I won't see any other option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dying is not an option.
Mm-hmm. I'm not letting myself die.
Mm-hmm. But if I'm trying to take care of myself and my needs, and I haven't had anything to eat in 4 days, I quit.
What?
One very fascinating.
Please.
You know, there's this thing where you see a child trapped under the car,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk over and pick up the car.
Mm-hmm. Needed.
Interesting. If you're under the car,
Mm-hmm.
can you pick it up?
Nope.
Save yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. But to save a child that you don't even know, that is not yours, not your responsibility, you can pick up a car. Because when you're trapped under the car, you're going to try to pick it up, not out of need, but out of love, self-love. Love can't pick up cars. But need, the child needs to be saved. You can pick up a car. Hollywood twists it like out of love you can do anything. No, out of love you're willing to do anything. You're not capable. You can't pick up the car as much as you'd love to.
Why do you think that is? Just to create an emotional attachment to people? Like when Hollywood promotes this super dangerous, these narratives, these agendas.
I think it took it from religion. Religion says God is love. Okay, well, cash in on that.
Yeah. What does that mean? What's the value on that?
God is love.
Mm-hmm.
That means love is God. You're worshiping love, not worshiping God. If God were not love, would you worship him? No. Mm-hmm. Or other people, God is almighty. And if he wasn't almighty, well, I wouldn't worship him. So what are you worshiping? Power.
Got a lot of unlearning to do. A lot of calluses to break down because it's. But I'll be totally honest. It is encouraging because you started off and you said, even though I was a little discouraged, you said it's simple and it can be fixed.
Those old calluses disappear very quickly
Mm-hmm.
because they're not true. They're flimsy.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know the truth, there's no contest.
Mm-hmm. I don't even believe in it. I'm not giving it power. Wow. So get married early, settle down,
Make a difference
make it down.
because that's what you're needed for. It's a compliment to the human being that we prefer to be needed. We are purposeful creatures. I'll put up with anything if there's a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason, hey, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because human beings are reasoning creatures. It's a compliment to us. You know, a guy who says, I'm going to kill myself. I can't take this. What can't you take? There's no purpose. There's no reason. There's no meaning. So why do you have to kill yourself? We can't stand meaningless. It goes against our our essence.
Mhm. I think that causes a lot of the mental health problems.
Yeah.
Whenever I, and this may not be the popular perspective on it, but I see mental health. Well, aside from like the whole big pharma and people just profiting off of people's problems, they got to create it to sell, right? You got to create a problem to sell a solution. But when I look at mental health and people suffering, either feeling depressed, whatever it is, you're not working towards anything purposeful. You don't believe you're working towards anything purposeful. You don't feel needed. I've never addressed it. I never thought about it like that, but it's you don't feel needed. And when you don't feel attached to a purpose and needed, you're questioning yourself. Like, what is the point? Why do I need to work harder? Let me give up.
Yeah. If you say to me, God doesn't need you, I mean, come on, He's God,
Mm-hmm.
but He loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-uh.
That doesn't mean anything to me. That doesn't.
You're making a fool of God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, He loves me, even though He doesn't need me, and I'm not necessary. What's He loving?
Mm.
What's He loving? What is that? I'm a teddy bear? A stuffed toy? God plays with toys?
That's the foundation right there with relationships overall. And I guess if you don't feel needed, then you need to figure out a way to make yourself needed. What's your purpose? What are you going to fulfill?
So here's how love works. That which is really necessary in your life, you should love. Love is not necessary. Love is the spice for those things that are really necessary. So there are people in your life that are necessary. You should love them. If you don't love them, they're still necessary. On the other hand, people who are not necessary in your life, but you love them, you're just playing. No matter how much you love them, they're still not necessary.
But that's the thinking we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
We've been tricked. We've been tricked. And that's why it starts with the Disney movies.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people that even think like that, it's like what even is love? You know, what's love? I can answer what's needed more so. What's my responsibility? What's my duty? That's very clear. But love is so, it's gonna mean something different to you, to you, to you.
A child says, I love my mommy, I love Mickey Mouse, and I love ice cream. Now tell me what love means. What?
I don't want to be in a category with ice cream.
Right.
Don't love me.
And it's not necessarily in that order.
Right. Yeah. You never. Yeah.
Look, the brother you hate
Mm-hmm.
is much more important than the dog you love. Not in Hollywood.
No, no.
If you love your dog, you will kill any amount of people who threaten your dog. Why? Oh, I love my dog.
How did we get here?
Took a while. But no, I think every generation has its idol, its false god.
Mhm.
In America, the false god is love. We'll die for it, we'll kill for it. It's hard. And like every false god, it will disappoint you every time.
And that's what we see as the answer. Love this, love that. That's what our celebrities talking about. P. Diddy running around talking about love. I'm gonna love. It's
Lion King.
why.
So there are two lions, and the song in the background is There is Love in the Air. Lions love?
feel bad. That's one of my favorite scenes with Simba and
Mhm.
Nala.
You see?
And that's
You see how effective that is?
I'm si- you want to know, this is going to sound embarrassing in some ways, but I've yearned for that exact moment where they're tumbling, down the whatever. And, Nala's, it's the first time Simba's, pinned Nala, and Nala looks back with those eyes, and that song's in the background. I'm not even, this is embarrassing to say, but I've always looked for that moment to justify love. That exact moment, that scene that you just brought up, there's magic in the air. God, it's just a kids movie, right? That's what it's just a kids movie.
That's what kids grow up with.
Mhm.
In general, calling intimacy making love,
Mm.
we, we stop worshiping love. Intimacy is so much more important than love. Why are you reducing it to love? You're making a baby. Making love. It's ridiculous. And then you read books about animals mating, and oh, they're making love.
It removes all purpose from it.
The black tarantula, the black widow.
That kills after they.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. What's the yeah? After they
it,
mate,
it eats its mate.
it's love.
That's love for you.
That's actually a good. That may be the most appropriate, realistic um, vision of love in a lot of ways. If we allow it to just be about
Love is the spice for things that are needed.
love. Is that how I used to be of the mind? Well, you always hear money isn't everything. Money is everything. I used to be very much no, money is everything because that can impact everything. So that's what I'm focused on. Um, but then, you know, things start to, I guess, when you, oh, I just need to make this amount and I'll be good. But when you start making those amounts, you start to look at it a little bit differently. And money is just it's the spice that comes from the work, that we're doing and the impact that we're making rather than it being the end all be all. Mm.
There's more to us than we're given credit for. Human beings are capable of love.
That's it.
Capable of much more than that. We're partners with God in creation. Love doesn't compete with that.
That reduces everything. That should be reduced. We're partners with God in creating. I've never looked at it like that. I've never looked at it as much as God needing us. That changing that perspective may be the start
Oh,
to,
yeah.
just
Oh, it
this
changes everything.
yeah. Because what do we say? God doesn't need. God's not worried about me. God. No, God needs me to fulfill my purpose, and it's almost like
His purpose.
I'm to fulfill His purpose, and it's almost as if you hear these stories about people going on trails. Like I'm thinking about one in the snow where people are hiking through, and there's somebody falling off in the back. You could tell they're getting ready to give up, but then what a good leader, will do is say, "Hey, we need you to lead. This next portion." And now all of a sudden, when that person, there's a certain level of need there, they need to be relied on, depended on. They now have this burst of energy. to where now they're moving forward. Now they're leading the group just with need. Nothing to do with love, nothing to do with anything else, but hey, we need you to lead right now.
That's what we're made of.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a movie, a war movie. Don't remember the name. I don't remember who the actors were because I didn't appreciate it at the time. When I saw it later, I thought, wow. There was a sergeant with a group of soldiers trapped behind enemy lines, and they had to make decisions constantly. And the guy made the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
The others argued with him. You're killing us. That's suicide. The wrong way. Shouldn't go that way. Should go this way. In the end, it turned out he was right. He saved them all. The end of the movie is they're saying goodbye to him. And one of them says, so how does it feel to be a man who's always right? And his answer is, as a man, I am not always right, only as your sergeant. That is so good.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm responsible for you, I will be right all the time. As a person,
No responsibility with it. So we need to give people more responsibility. Let people know
at a young age,
at a young age.
Kids are so frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because they're kept busy with things that mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like karate lessons.
Yeah. There's no purpose behind it. Yeah.
Busy stuff. It's like, and that's why Corona sobered us up a little. No, you're not going for anything. You're sitting right there and figure out what your life is all about.
Is that why kids see? That's why I see with a lot of these new movements and agendas, why it's so dangerous impacting kids with it, because kids are looking to, it's almost as if they want to convince kids, oh, this new thing, this is courageous for you to stand up for, because kids are waiting. They're waiting to assume a responsibility in something greater.
Or some
So,
ideal.
right. So
Yeah.
if we don't give it to them at a young age for something with a purpose, God driven, then they'll find it in something else. And that's what I see right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Kids are just waiting for it. Kids want to fight for something.
Yes.
They want to stand up for something. So we don't give them the responsibility, and if we baby them and coddle them without attributing all of their actions to the greater purpose, something's gonna get them. Something's gonna eat them up. Something's gonna, oh, you can fight for this. We need you. This is a part of this purpose, and it's that's how the manipulation occurs.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can sit here and talk to you all night. I don't know when you have to finish up, but I would hope to, be able to continue this conversation at a later time, and hopefully it'll just be an open conversation. I want to be respectful and appreciative of your time. Mm-hmm.
All I do is talk.
Well, I would love to listen. So that's going to be a good relationship.
So yeah, let's continue.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you. You've changed and shifted my perspective in a lot of ways. And walking out of here, it's I already know I'm a better leader. I mean that. And you've given me some new tools in my tool bag to make a bigger difference, part of a greater purpose that I can now attach to something that's real rather than it just being something up in the air or something that I designed myself for myself.
It's because we're both looking towards the same conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Just a question of how to get there.
Right. Right. I appreciate you. And I look forward to the next time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Wow.
If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it. These ideas, these messages, this approach to life, this approach to Torah, to meaning, and to morals is vital for the world today. And we need to get this message out to the entire world. It is universal, it's essential, it's indispensable. To support this effort, if you want to be a partner in this crime, check out the link and make a donation. It really helps a lot. And thank you in advance.